All right, we are back. Where were we last time? So last time we built out a consent management platform, really simple, just front end. And today I want to kind of see how far we can get. So right now we have, let me go ahead and show you what we have right now. So let me go to the browser mode here, the magic of OBS. Now I need to find it here on my own screen. All right, so we have the simple website with some diagnostics here that we can see. We've got the button here to accept all the cookies. And remember the last time we did build, I think it was this one. I mean, I know I did a little bit of testing beforehand. Let me go ahead and reload this page. What happens to the data layer? Yeah, some arguments do get pushed in. So that's the default one. And it's all set to denied because this was localhost and I switched it off. All right, so let's go ahead and accept all. And we'll see everything is granted now. Let's go ahead and check the data layer again. And I know there are some extensions in here. All right, so we have the update here and we have the event that we can eventually pull into a Google Tag Manager for Google Consent Mode 2. That's great and all. And we also have an admin section. And I forgot to save something last time. So let me go ahead. Oh, no, it did happen. All right, so see this little preview at the bottom? I asked it to give me a few options for these floating icons here so we can click through them. And it's giving us some options, which are pretty neat. I like the fingerprint one. I'm seeing this quite often now. And it's grabbed the color. Let me go ahead and upload the files here. Too many files here. Let me see. I was going to drag and drop that one in there. Just need to find it here. Bear with me. Logos. Was it this one? It wasn't that. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to drag this one in here. Perfect. Let's go ahead and do a save here. And let me close this window here so I can keep tabs on everything that is happening here. Yeah, so we've got the embed code here. This is something that we need to work on because as you can see, we're not really hosting it anywhere. It's on a your domain, which doesn't really work. All right, and then we have the categories. I'm not going to mess with that because that's going to be different for everybody. So let me open up another tab here. Yep. And see how this works now. So if I open up this one, you'll see that the banner popped up really nice here. Let me go ahead and we'll keep marketing. Let's try this one. I've always been an analytics guy. And as you can see, it's updated everything here. Cool. All right, so we have the basic idea of a consent management platform working. I think the next step that we want to pretty much do, let me have a quick think about this I need to find some kind of dummy domain where I can host this stuff on. So I have martechtherapy.com, which is my blog. And the question is, can I put this onto my blog? That'd be pretty interesting. I think I could put in custom codes here. So let's go to ghost.org, custom JavaScript. Building custom code, yeah, locally. No, that's just building the page. I want to inject, how can I inject code? I think it should be possible. All right, let's go ahead and see if I can find it. I'm going to switch to just me while I figure out how do I log in and display this to you guys. And what I'll need to do is actually create a DNS update for the URL. So I'll need to log into a few places where I don't want you guys peeking into my data. Let me just log in here. I believe this domain name is registered with this company. Getting the verification code, injecting it. All right, I found it. Martech Therapy, here we go. manage DNS. And what I will do is actually create a new, I think we need a new A record. Depends on where we're going to host it. That's the whole thing. See, this is what really happens if you don't prepare. So what I will do is I'll go over to my Hostinger and see if I can, oh, no, not Hostinger. I've got a Coolify running. And, but that would mean that I would need a Docker. I need something with hosting. Crap. All right. I think I still have something over at Green Geeks. Logging in there. So the goal is that I need to inject the, we need to be hosting the JavaScript file somewhere. And what I want to do is kind of host the login section eventually. Let me think this thing a little bit through now. So what I will do is I need a little bit of hard drive space to, then we can do it through Coolify. No worries. What we're going to do is we're going to build everything into a GitHub repo. And then from there, we'll create a Docker file, and then I can put it through Coolify onto. So that means in here, what I will need to do is get this IP address from my Coolify. I'll add an A name record and A name, and that will be, I'll just put it cmp.martechtherapy.com, and I'll save that. All right, that's step one. That's cool. And now I need to go over into Coolify, create a new project. I find it very hard to describe Coolify. It's a project hoster, so you can, once you build apps with something like Claude Code, you can tell it to create like a Docker file, which is kind of a self-contained application that you can then sync to. You can store everything on GitHub, and then from GitHub you can then make sure that when you make changes through Claude Code into your app, you commit and push those changes into your GitHub account. So it's actually where it's your version manager, and then you can tell Coolify, hey, I've got a new version of the app. Go ahead and sync it. But now I need to tell Coolify exactly where I am going to put everything. So the Coolify project name. Sorry, I can't show you guys because there's a lot of sensitive information here. Consent management platform. I'll just do continue, add a resource, and I need to go into GitHub now. Oh, there's so many things to do. So I need to go into GitHub and create a new repo, which will be consent management platform. And this one I will make public, I guess, because I'm pulling in a version of for myself. Let me make it private for now, and then I don't need that. And then once I'm ready, I'll open it up for you guys to fork or do whatever if you guys just want to check it out. All right, so I've created the, I don't know if I can show you this part already. No, still too much information. Now what I need to do now is I need to open up this repo into my GitHub app for, which one would that be? I'm not using that one anymore. I need to remove that. This would go under, see, this is where developers come in useful. So I go into settings and I go into developer, integrations, applications. No, that's not it. Or is it? Yeah, here we are. Mock CDP, use passkey, confirm. And then I just need to also add the consent management platform. Save. All right. So now what I need to do is I need to go into add a resource here, private repo with GitHub, and then GitHub, and then I need to select the consent management platform, and there is no load repository. All right, so that is okay. Let me close a few of these tabs here. So is there nothing revealing here? Close that one, close that one, close that one, close that one, and that one. Yeah, we're good to go. All right, so back to our plan. Let me go ahead and switch back to VS Code. So what I will do now in VS Code is let's commit this because what I want to do is host this app on Coolify through GitHub. Again, GitHub's the version history tool. Coolify allows you to host these Docker files or these applications through something like a virtual private server on a server like Hetzner or Hostinger or wherever you want to host it, DigitalOcean, etc. So let's host this app on Coolify through GitHub. We need to create, or we need to connect the app to a GitHub repo consent management platform, and start committing and pushing what we have so that we can deploy on Coolify. All right, so it's going to do this now. Once this is done, it'll you'll see all these little annotations here, the green dots and the U's for uncommitted. It's going to go through all the changes right now and actually commit all the files and create what's called a git ignore file. The git ignore file, as you can see here, we have env, which are environmental files. These host sensitive information like API keys, etc. It's not going to put in the node modules directory because when you build out the Docker file, it'll actually import all the necessary libraries that are used within your application. So that way what you're syncing is purely the source code that you've been working on. So we're just going to go through this process here. It's found the consent management platform Git, which is great. And let me see. It's going to push that through. The old index now is detected. I mean, there's nothing really a lot to host right now. And this is where I don't shine as a developer. Again, I'm not a developer, but I'll need to get some advice from Claude Code on this about, since we're just hosting the files now, at some point, we've got basic index HTML right now. We're using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's really simple. And the question is, do we need to push anything in here that will need a framework like Next or React, Next, Nuxt, Vue, anything like that? If that's the case, then what I can remember is that then you need to build a Docker file to be able to host those frameworks or actually build the frameworks. Again, if somebody knows, just drop me a line. What I found here, all right, connect the repo and Coolify. So I'll do that here in a second. But what I need to tell it is that I have assigned the subdomain cmp.martechtherapy.com to the Coolify project, and that is the URL that will need to be used in when I test on production. Let's see what it tells me now. Okay, so there's no npm install required. Port 3000. All right, so I think it will need to do another push here in a second because there are settings in here. Yeah, so it's pushing through anything. When you see code like this, anything that's red has been removed, anything that's green is being added to it. Yeah, so it's pushing this one again. At least now it's going for a git push. And you'll get this code to inform you that it has been pushed. Well, sometimes it shows or not. All right. I'm just thinking we don't have any admin codes. All right. But by the time anybody watches this, it'll probably be like 5 years. Let's do a load repository. We found it now. We want to expose port 3000. So this is, oh, you can't see it actually. Hold on. I'm so new at this. Can I change? Do I want to show this is the question. Yeah, let's do that right now. Let me duplicate this a view. Call it Coolify. And what I want to do is here, instead of showing visual code, I want to show the Coolify tab. Will it allow me to do that? Yes, it will. That's pretty cool. There we go. And I don't think it will actually matter that much. So I'm getting to learn OBS here as well. So now we've got Coolify in front of us. And for me, it's always a little bit of a, for example, here, build pack. I think build pack needs to be static, but let me go ahead just to double check here. See, I can't switch. Hold on. I need to duplicate this view. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Yeah, this is funny. Why can't I duplicate this one? Copy and paste. All right, so now I remove this one. I just still, hold on, let me hide it for you on this view. And for this one, I need to assign the code. God, yep, here we go. All right, are we there? Yeah, we're there. So I need to jump back into VS Code real quickly. And what I'll do here is, did it give me instructions on how to add it here? Build command, none needed, no build step, start command, Node.js. So do I add it as a Nix pack or a static? I guess we don't need Docker files for this one. Dun, 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 dun. So in a sense, this is a little bit like, see, build back Nix packs, npm start. It'll auto detect the Node.js, which is fine. All right, so let's back to, oh my goodness, why is it being such a dweeb? Oh, all right, I need to remove that one. Let's go ahead and remove that one. And I want to add a new source, which is the macOS screen capture, and this will be Coolify. Coolify. Of course the names exist because I need to rename it. We will capture a specific window, and that will be Chrome Coolify. Here we go. All right, so we are back on. Are we on the air? Let's remove this one. So just making one final change here. VS Code. And what I want to do is I want to hide this one. All right, so we are in Coolify. And I need to change here. So we need Nix packs, base directory, and what we come into this configuration file, and it'll actually give us a domain name. And what I'll do is I'll change this here to cmp.martechtherapy.com. This is the subdomain that I have assigned to this project within my DNS. So what will happen now is that the cmp.martechtherapy.com will actually point to this server right here. And once that happens, it will pick up any of the documents in there. Cool stuff. And let's go ahead and try deploy here. Did I https cmp.martechtherapy.com. All right, let's go ahead and deploy. All right. Build Docker image started. Oh, I guess it does build a Docker image. All right. So going back to code, it said I should be able to access the admin area here. All right, it's thinking. First time around. Still not showing any progress. 1 minute. Should be up and running here in a second. It wasn't that big. And then I think the next step what we'll do is we'll add a login to it so that you cannot actually see. Oh my goodness, is it really taking that long? All right, let me open up another page here. Yeah, so it's still proceed. Let's go. No available server. I've seen that one before. That's probably because it's still deploying. No, it said deployment is done. So I don't do the deployments. Once the deployments are set up, they seem to work quite nicely, but let me reload here. And I think the last time something like this happened, no available server. All right, let me jump back into VS Code. I am getting the notification, no available server. It could be because well, I think the DNS has been pushed forward. Otherwise, I would have seen my web hosting. Go to servers on the left-hand bar. See your service list. It is listed. That happens. One service connected reachable. Go back to your project, and it should let you select Coolify is up and running, and the deployment was successful. Oh, the joy, the joy. Yeah, it was successful. Why is it? Does it take a little bit of time? Navigate it to CMP. Admin 503 service unavailable. Nice. Can you confirm? No, a 503 error. We can check this one to see if this. Let me check this. The banner itself, the JavaScript. No, it's not putting it back in. Let's go ahead and change to code again to see what it told us. It was on port 3000. Let me go ahead and check the port environment variable. Some Coolify setups are. I could check this, but I thought this was already in the configuration. Let me go ahead and check. Should have been port 3000, port exposed. Oh, it didn't pull in the. All right. Yeah, this has happened before. So there is cmp.martechtherapy.com. And then talk about UX. There's this little save button up here. Now we need to hit the save, and now we need to redeploy. So it was actually using its own created domain, which is a bit silly. So we'll test it again. Hopefully everything will come through beautifully this time. Yep, it's completed. So it might take a little moment here. Let's go back and test it again. Look, here we are. So there's a not secure here because the certificate is built out through Coolify and Traffic. So this will leave in due course. What was the other URL that we can test to see if the CMP is hosted? The banner script. Look at that. We've got the banner script up and running here. That's pretty awesome. Chuffed about that one. Now, the main thing is, can we put this on my website? So let me log into Ghost. Settings. Does that go into settings? I'm just having a quick peek before I share with you guys here. Integrations. Would it be under integrations? No, code injection. Found it. All right, so I'm going to, might not just show you this here real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the embed code. That's for self-hosted. And I'm going to put that in the domain here. Give me, yep, consent management platform. Let me do the save here. And here, let's go to Martech. No, I hate this new feature in Chrome, Martech Therapy, where you want to kind of push the autocomplete by pressing space while you're filling in the URL. Oh, I'm not even showing it. Oh, I'm such a doofus. Here we go. Look at this. And I need to remove my ugly mug here. There we go. Look at this, people. We have the cookie banner on our website. That's pretty awesome. Let's do accept all. If I go in here, we've got all the settings here. Let me pull up the data layer. So there's 3 arguments in here. It's actually pushing everything through. Now I still haven't connected it to Google Tag Manager, but I think this is a pretty significant moment. And no, I have not forgotten about the fact that we need to put a password on this. So that is the kind of next thing we'll do. But we have got that's pretty awesome. Look at this. See, that's what I like about vibe coding is, sure, it gets a little bit complex when you need to work with Coolify, GitHub. You need to start thinking about a lot of these tangents you need to go off on to really go beyond that MVP status of an app. So let's go back to VS Code right now and tell it the good news. I don't know why I want it, because it's freaking AI. All right. I'm going to use Whisperflow right now to continue my discussion with Claude Code. Great work so far. The application is now up and running and hosted. It's actually on the domain where we put it on. I think it's time to put in a admin login so that we can prevent any misuse. What methods do you suggest we apply here? Would it just be kind of a... No, I'm going to let you come up with it. I mean, I don't want to use a database. I'm not too keen on setting up Google SSO on this, but it needs to be secure. Because there are a few options we can use. I usually, my fallback with Martech Stack Builder right now is Supabase in combination with Google SSO as a sign-up option. Otherwise, the magic link from Supabase. I just don't want to put in something too heavy here. All right, so it's come back. Password and signed session cookies or dependencies. Set an admin passport environment. Cool. Yeah, that works. So we'll need to set an environment variable on a correct password. The server creates an HMAC SHA-256 signed token. Dude, if you think this works, all admin and API routes, check for valid token before serving anything. Secure enough self-hosted admin tool. All right. I like the part around the environment variable. So for those of you who don't know what environment variables are, environment variables are variables or values that you actually put onto the server. There's no code on the front end. The front end is able to query kind of or check in with the server and say, hey, I need this value. The only reason it's going to use it now is that when I sign in, it's going to match that password to the value that I store in an environment variable. Now, resetting the password is a whole different game. So I guess at that point, you will definitely need to consider that if you want to change the password, you will need to change it in the environment variable. Yeah, so let's go ahead and say, yes, let's do it. I will sign the environment envar admin password with a password. So what that means in Coolify, so if we switch back to Coolify real quickly here. So we want to go to Coolify projects, and we have the consent management platform. You'll see this feature here called environment variables. You want to click on this one, add, and then do admin password. And then I will use a, I'm not going to share that with you guys. What is something that I was testing with the password today somewhere? Oh yeah, here, we'll use this one. Okay. Nope, don't want to log in. So I'll change that later once the stream goes offline. So now it's set admin password and it's set. We can actually view it. It won't work until we do a redeploy, but we can't really redeploy until we have fixed the files in, or fixed the files until Claude Code is finished. Setting up some console logs so I can test it. Log in. Why is it doing this local host? I don't want the local host. Oh, but that's for testing locally. So for testing locally, what it will, I'm curious if it's going to build a file here. What does it want to do now? Add admin authentication with signed session cookie. It should create an environment variable file here. It's creating a test environment for me to test with test 1, 2, 3. I don't know why I want us to do that because I want to set up an environment. What is it doing? Oh, it's going to restart the server. It's going to kill it and then restart it. Correct password HTTP only session cookies. Does it put it under? No. All right, what's it doing now? Good question. Oh, I was just wondering again, how did it know which image file to serve in the cookie banner that I just pushed to production? Because it's in base 64. All right, so add the environment variable. It still hasn't added one here. Go to your CMP project. Yeah, we've done that. We've got the password. We're going to redirect, sign out. All right, well, we'll go ahead and do a commit and push. Usually when on the more complex projects, I have so-called skills built out for the commit and push. They will run a series of tests. They'll scan for security flaws. Everything was committed and pushed already. Did it change anything? Hold on. Admin login. There's no admin. Is that a sub page then? Did it actually make those changes here, or did it? what file was it working in? Oh, it created an API, but where did it store the server.js? All right, it's committed. There's no green icon behind it. So I'm going to guess that it has been committed. I am going to go back into Coolify and do a redeploy here. This will take the admin password into account. Gracefully shutting down. And then we should be able to test it here. And don't worry, I'll change the password here in a second. No configuration changed and image found. See, that is weird. Because it did make changes, but Coolify is not seeing any changes. What changes did you make for the admin login? Yeah, this is confusing. Let me just double. Hold on. Sometimes Coolify will auto deploy. Yeah, see, it auto deployed. All right, never mind. I've got auto deploy switched off for a few tools. Let's see what happens now when I refresh admin. Yeah, now I've got the password. I enter it here. Let me test with anything else. Hello. Did it give me some? No, nothing in the. And let me add the right password here. Yep, and now it logged me in. So we've got the whole password thing set up now. Pretty happy about that. So this is the banner cmp.js. Let me see if I can make a change because I'm curious to see if it actually has the right permissions or it'll work. We value privacy. And I'll just put an exclamation mark behind it and see. Configuration saved. Let's go to the website here. So let's go to, we can do that here. Hold on. HTTPS. No, I don't need that. martechtherapy.com. Oh, come on, Chrome. You're doing me in here. Martech Therapy. Yeah, so it actually updated the config file correctly. So we value your privacy. That's pretty cool. So things we've done so far in the time that we have been online is that we have moved the entire CMP solution to a hosted solution. Now, it takes a little bit of figuring out, but once you've done that, you can actually, it gets a lot quicker. Meaning that you can, in Claude Code, you can actually build out your app, test it locally. Then you might, if you want to do it smart, you go to a dev environment. Dev environment is also something that's hosted online. It's not on your computer, just to kind of better simulate real world situations. You test it there, and then you push it into production. I skipped the dev server part right now. So we've got a CMP self-built, up and running on a subdomain and through a Git repo that we can continue to edit in the future, which just makes it brilliant. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, because I still see my ugly mug here. Let me drag myself up here really quickly. So we've got the little icon here at the bottom left, and look at that. That's pretty awesome. Let's see. Now, I want to do, before we really shut down for today, I want to have the option to place this floating icon bottom left, bottom right. And I want to be able to, instead of having the full banner at the bottom, I want to have like a floating, kind of floating solution here at the bottom left. So let's switch back to this one. All right. It's still making the change were all pushed. Oh, it's just verifying. All right. Now that we have everything hosted online, Let's stop it here. Everything's working. Now that we have the app working in a subdomain, and we have the repos stored on GitHub, connected to Coolify, and we're able to make changes and publish, the admin password solution works. I want to make a few or add a few options to the admin. So at the moment, we have the little floating icon after somebody gives consent. I want to be able to let the admin decide if that needs to be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the active window. And I want to have different options for the consent cookie bar that we have at the moment. That sticks to the bottom of the page. I want to have the capability of blurring the main site while you only see the cookie banner at the bottom. I want to also have an option where we have like a floating container on the left-hand side that gives the instead of having that sticky bottom bar, I want a floating vertical rectangle kind of with rounded corners. Maybe even make the corners an option on how we want to how the user wants that on the left-hand side, and we should also be able to put it on the right-hand side with the basic solution as well, where you can accept, deny, or show preferences, etc. Is that something you can work on? Cool beans. All right, so we will check that now. It'll actually start working on that. And I'm happy to test this locally first. I mean, it's not like my website gets a lot of traffic now, looking at the number of views of this live stream. So I'm not too worried about that. Let's just make sure that this becomes a highly configurable content management platform. Consent management platform. What am I drooling? Let's check in here, appearances. Does it say anything? No, that's just general. See, oh, it already had the position here. Silly me. All right, so it can also do bottom right. Let's go ahead and check. Yeah, see, now it's in the bottom right. All right, bit of a doofus. I was not checking what the app had actually built already. That is definitely my mistake. So what I hope to see now is definitely a few options where we can actually see. Oh, you guys weren't seeing that. Sorry. See, I can put the icon here at the bottom right, and it actually works as well. And then when I switch to the admin section here, there is this positioning, bottom left, bottom right, even in the top right. I don't know why you would want to put it. I've never seen a website actually put it at the top right. Let me test it here. Yeah, see, it's at the top right. But that covers the announcement bar. And there are solutions for that as well. But for now, bottom left is the place to go, that where I want it. It kind of hovers over here, over these things, which it's, I guess you land on the page in this manner. Let's go ahead and check back with, it is compacting the conversation. So for those of you who don't know what compacting the conversation means, there's a context window that Claude Code could work with, meaning it has like this active memory of the task at hand. And I believe it's 200,000. Is it 200,000 now? Yeah, I think they're expanding it to 1 million. But what that means is that the active memory is limited to 200,000 tokens, I believe. The memory, the active memory where it can actually work in. Once you reach that limit, it'll need to kind of reset the context. And before it resets the context, it actually compacts your entire conversation. So I believe there was a way to actually see Control O for history. So if I press Control O in here, you can actually see. So this is the compact summary. These are notes to itself about what it's been working on, what it's completed, any outstanding questions, etc. And it will use that as context when it continues in kind of a new session, which it is doing right now. So it's completed the compacting, and now you'll see I'll continue with plan mode, workflow, etc. And it will let me launch a plan agent, and you can see that here at the bottom left hand. So with a plan agent, the more complex your tool actually gets, Claude Code will, and it's always recommended to do this for any kind of change you do. It'll go into plan mode, and plan mode is nothing short of it doesn't touch the code, it doesn't make any decisions yet. It does a lot of research, and it comes up with a written plan for you to review, and that you can either accept or make changes on, which is good. And I always recommend that anytime you do work with these plans, read them thoroughly, because this is the human in the loop moment. This is where you, as a user, actually have something to say. Sometimes it'll misinterpret a request that you've made. It's real simple. So you really need to be on top of this. What's interesting though, and one of the recommendations I can highly make, is that you either build out a skill or within your Claude MD file, is put in an instruction that whenever a plan is built, it'll store that plan, once it's accepted, into a markdown file. What I've seen happen quite a few times already is that when you're working on such an extensive plan, okay, that kind of indicates maybe you should break it down into smaller sections. But let's take for a moment that you forgot to do that. Once you have that markdown file, Claude will be able to refer to it kind of back and forth, or you can remember Claude and say, hey, we've finished phase 1, 2, and 3 of this project, but there's still 3 more phases to complete. Reference the document file, or you can do a mention in your chat with an @ sign, and that will actually kind of refresh its memory and move forward again. So it's definitely a recommendation that I would give you, but let's see what it comes out with. So the instruction that we gave it is that, so the movement of the icon, floating icon, that was already in there. That was my mistake, that I had not checked my own product before giving new instructions. And now we had the banner layout options. It's doing a card, backdrop, and positioning. All right, so the banner currently only supports a full width bar layout, top, bottom. The user wants multiple display modes, a floating card layout left, right, and a backdrop blur option, and configurable coordinate radius. So admins can choose banner style that fits their site design. Very smart. Add 2 new fields under the banner, and these will become options within. So it's telling here that it'll need to update the actual JavaScript that gets loaded by the website that we're hosting it to. It's telling here that changes need to be made to the admin index HTML. So these new features need to be available within the admin section. And there is a JSON file. Pretty happy with this so far. Does it mention here wrap existing banner? Was it giving the options here? So card position left, right, news left, right, only to be used with layout card, backdrop false. It'll add a dim blur behind banner when visible, position, and layout. So we'll have bar, and then we'll also have the card option. All right, interesting. It's got, so here you can actually see with the context, because we just compacted it, it's already used 25% of the context memory. Do we want to clear out the context? I usually do, because once it does start working on changes, a clean slate is pretty nice. So I'll always choose yes, clear the context, and start with a clean slate. So I'm interested in the design that it's going to come up with for the card version. But again, you're always able to test these out yourself. Let's go see. Test page. I think we still need to fill out. So since we're testing on localhost, I'll probably need to enter the, oh, it's actually killed the localhost server, which is fine. Like I said, test locally as much as possible. When you can't, maybe prepare it kind of like a dummy website where you can test. All right, so it wants to make some changes here. Let me get this structured without the logo. Yeah, so it's repurposing the existing configuration file, and my logo was in there, the Base64 logo. And it's so funny still to see, like I mentioned last time, the amount of time Claude Code takes on some of these projects. I mean, the changes it's making now, I've seen it work much quicker on larger tasks than it has on, in my opinion, more easier tasks like this. So I don't know if it, again, has to do with, does it thrive with higher complexity? I'm not sure. Not sure. It's making some changes here. So the M is for modified. It's modified the CMP.js. So that means we will have to do another push to GitHub to eventually get this onto production. But as you can see here, it's laying out all the tasks right now. So now it's adding the backdrop. So I asked it to give it a blur. And after that, it'll change the or admin UI controls. At that point, you'll see the admin pages right here. Also show the modified icon. I'm curious if it's going to add the level of blurriness that we can add. This will be pretty interesting. But like I said, it is quite easy still, but don't underestimate the videos and the people shouting online saying one-shot prompt, huge solutions. I can build out a Trello with a single prompt. Look, I sure, for an MVP, absolutely. But you want to take these things into production, that's a whole different ballgame. And I think you need to be aware, and I think you need to acknowledge the fact that as much as AI, Claude Code, OpenAI's Codex, Gemini, they're great at building out these boilerplates, these kind of solutions. To put them into production is really moving the responsibility from the app to yourself. And if you take that for granted, like I mean, even with showing you my password here for the admin section, it is, it takes responsibility. It's and to be fair, I've run into a few issues, errors in some of the solutions that I've been working on. Errors that, as soon as the tools get so complex, you're going to run into these edge cases that hopefully will be reported by users. And sure, you can use AI to go in and fix that, but yeah, it's always best to test as much yourself. All right, all changes complete, added car position right, and all right. So usually I'm going to say this again. My recommendation is test this locally. Right now, I don't really care. The amount of traffic on MarTech Therapy is a little bit negligible. Come on, guys. No, just kidding. So I'll go ahead and test it there. And I'm already thinking about how can we move on after this. So let me see if I can get back to the Coolify tab here. Yeah, so it's in progress. So you can see now that it is automatically processing the push that I did to GitHub. All right, and it is complete. Let's move into the all right, so we are here. This is the official version. Let me go ahead and do a refresh here. And it needs my password again. Oh, because it probably did luckily I have it saved here. And let's see what happens here. So we have no new menu options, but let's go ahead and scroll down. We've got, we saw the bottom left, enable backdrop. Here's a new feature. And here's the banner layout. So if we do, let's go ahead and save the changes here. And let's just close that, and then I need to delete my cookies here. Hold on. I love this view. So, all right. Yeah, so we've got the blurry background. That looks pretty sick, by the way. Yeah, that's nice. All right, so let's get the floating card. This is the example here. Let's go ahead and save changes. See, that's interesting. It kicked me out again. What the? All right, floating card. Card position, right? No. See, it's in the preview here, live preview. It says right, but it's putting it in the left. All right. Enable backdrop. Let's do save changes. Configuration saved. Look at that, people. We've got a, yeah. And what, see, this is, fingers crossed here. If I click accept all here, will it delete the, yes, thank you. All right, so all in all, it's not that bad. I think the live preview needs a little fix here. Floating preference button, nothing really changed there. We still have the capability of changing that. See, it didn't store the so every time you, that's interesting because every time, see what had happened there? We made changes to the config file, but it overwrit them, or it overwrit it because we needed a new CMP.js. All right, so that's interesting because meaning anytime I make changes to this, to my preferences, then upload a new version. If there's code change in the cmp.js file, it'll overwrite the existing one and any of the configuration that we might have. Because if I go back into, it overwrit this file. This one, I believe it's this one. Yeah, there's the logo, and there are the other settings. So it probably overwrit this one. But how did the logo get back in there then? That's a good question. And that's where a database comes into play, that we could potentially improve it that way. But for now, I'm pretty happy. I might work on it just a little bit just to fix out the live preview, left and right alignment. But for now, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you learned something and can just appreciate that even you can make your way through this and build out your marketing technology solutions yourself by vibe coding. And again, don't underestimate the work needed to properly do this. Be secure and be ready to take responsibility. But in the end, if you do this right, there are a lot of potential savings that you can gain. In the next session, what I think I might do is, I know I said I didn't want to use a database, but I want to build an audit trail. And once we connect to a database in that way, so we can build out an audit trail and we can store the configuration into a database. I think it's a little, I'm not sure how I can then make this into an open source project, because you will need, maybe I can find a database that we can, kind of an, what is it called? You have these databases out there that you don't need, it'll store it on the, within your app. That might be a solution, but we'll look into that next time. For now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.